welcome back to another video. So in this video I want to address another problem I have with my jet ski, which I never actually managed to fix or acknowledge that it existed last time, but it's been about a year since I did the main rebuild, and when I started it recently it was making this terrible kind of rattly sound. I knew it wasn't coming from the engine, it was coming from the jet pump. The jet pump was basically the only part in the whole rebuild which I never touched. The other thing is it has had this tiny small leak. When it's sitting in the water, a small amount of water would come in through the back, and I think it's because I broke the seal by cleaning up some of the nuts holding the jet pump unit on the back. So I want to address that. I want to get in, take the jet pump off, potentially replace the impeller, the wiring, see what's going on and figure it out. So yeah. So I've removed that exhaust. Now you can clearly see these are the top bolt panels here, and on this side here and down here. There's even a bit of bloody water in it. I actually normally always dry it out fully, but I think that was somewhere at the back which I couldn't access. When I tilted the front down, a little bit came out. I also think I might have found the source of the leak. When I did the maintenance before, I took this cap off with this nut, and I can clearly see a bit of a stain looking like water's flown down from around here and down the side, which suggests that might have been where it's leaking. So back here I've put two axle jack stands, and I've actually moved the whole ski back on it. I put the jack stands there because it's moved back. It's given me access to these bolts here, which are normally under the rollers, but the risk is the weight is now further back on the trailer. It could tilt up and it could crush me. So I've put the jack stands in to protect myself. So I'm going to take a impact wrench and I'm going to loosen these screws and see can I get the ride plate off. One problem I actually have on my ski is you can see this angle here curves up slightly. That means that this is super tight. You can't actually slide it out. That's because it once fell off the trailer and this got hit pretty hard when it came off, which I think has bent it up slightly. That probably also reduces my efficiency of the ski being able to go fast. So when this is off, I might replace that as well, depending on how much they are, if I can get one on eBay. First thing first is take a 12mm socket. I'm going to put this on my wheel nut gun. It's just a strong impact wrench, and I'm going to loosen these. I'm going to break them out now. This one. There's two. Three. And four. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to release and take this off before I drop this down so that the wire inside is not under any pressure. I believe it's a Phillips. Just going to be quite careful. A few pebbles there. Now that's just hanging down. So this gives us access to the entire back of the jet pump unit now. You can see all the fixtures and fittings. What we need to do is we need to disconnect a bunch here and on this side, and bolts out, pull the steering system off, and then we have like 5 bolts here around to remove the actual impeller section, and then the wiring, I believe, is in here or here. One of these. We'll figure it out. Let's remove that spring. And to remove these, you just slide back a collar. You just pop them off. Now the reverse thruster can be unscrewed from each side. It's here and here. Number 12 also. I'm going to remove the entire assembly with a pin here and a pin here, and then I'm going to open it and I'm going to unscrew this part on the shaft itself. We can remove that. This piece just hang there for a minute until I unscrew it. So it's just unscrewing anti-clockwise. I loosened it by just tightening that nut to the end, and then I'm just twisting it now. It's quite a view on the Crocs. The next thing to do is remove these 2 bolts and these 4 bolts. Once I remove them, I should be able to take off the steering assembly unit. I also will cut this zip tie to remove that tube. This one. I've removed this one and this one. Do the bottom one now. So now we just need to switch and release these top ones. Ow! Well, that's that unit off. Absolutely smacked me in the shin. Fantastic. And now we are deeper into the back of it. We can see a little bit about what's going on. So the next thing to do is to remove 5 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little one here, 5. And then we can hopefully pull this unit out and see what's going on. We are looking good. Oh, that's here. Really quite stuck. Oh my god. There we go. Got it out, finally. There we go. So I'm looking at this now, and I can see quite a deep scratch mark, kind of a burning groove there, which suggests that for some reason a few things have got caught there. Let's have a look at the impeller. Oh yeah, there's actually a burr on that. It feels like it's been slicing on metal. Bearing feels pretty good, honestly. There we go. That looks really good, to be honest. Good colour, and it doesn't look like there's any water ingress. That could do with a good cleanup. But looks good, clean and clear, no damage that's obvious. This works by basically high pressure water which is travelling through the jet tube is forced, because its pressure is so high, it's in all directions outwards. Water is forced out of the tube and out here. Obviously then it hits up against this plate, and as a result then it ends up going down this tube here, which then goes in towards the engine for the engine intake of cooling. So it's recommended that, yeah, these seals are changed This could do with a good clean up with a wire brush. But to be honest, this corrosion is totally fine. It's nothing crazy. Nothing I haven't seen before. And actually much worse in other parts of the ski. The bearings actually seem really good on this. So one of the things I'll probably be doing is I might do a water test to see if there's any leaks. While all this is off, I can see from the inside very clearly if there's any water getting in. I'm currently driving to the slipway to put the back end of the jet ski into the water and find out where exactly it has a leak from. On the boat ramp. At the moment, I don't know if the ski is actually deep enough, so I might have to let it float. Just release it back a bit. Haven't even got it into the water fully yet, but spotting something much more concerning. Looks like there's an actual split. I don't know how far it goes around here. In the fiberglass. Looks like that's gonna need some repairing. Here. Looks like there's actually a split in the back. It's also leaking just on these screws here I put in. Small amount. A tiny bit from here. I also see it leaking from here. Now, there is now a considerable amount of water in the hull down there, which has come out of this crack, I believe. Okay, so good news, bad news. Good news is we found the crack. Cracks, multiple. Bad news is there's a fucking crack in the bottom of my jet ski. But it's not actually in the worst position, and I'll tell you how this happened. A couple of years ago, it actually fell off the back of the trailer. I was driving on quite slowly, but as it came down, the ride plate got hit and it bent it upwards slightly. The ride plate is still slightly bent. When that happened, the jet pump unit flexed upwards slightly, which put a lot of stress on these lower bolts. The crack is right here on the inside, suggesting that essentially it fractured just the fiberglass on the bottom side from the flexion upwards of the weight of it hitting the road. Now, the good news is when it's driving along, the whole jet pump unit's actually pushing forward, which is reducing pressure on the type of split. But when it's in reverse, for example, it's still putting a bit of pressure and it's going to be leaking all the while anyway. So it's definitely worth taking this transom plate off, which is leaking through the top anyway, and dremeling it out, doing a full fiberglass repair. So that's what I'm going to try and start today. Take the inner exhaust pipe off and start removing this unit. So I've removed all those nuts. Now it's time to pull it out from the inside. Give it a little push. It's loosened. Just pull that one off. So now I have access to these nuts to undo them. So I've taken the top two off. They actually screw out entirely as a bolt from the transom plate, which I didn't know that. So let's do the bottom two. I'm using the impact wrench. Now there's two more bolts to release, and that's these two. So we'll take those out from underneath. That's the transom plate off. Oh boy, I can see some serious corrosion on that. That would explain the leaks. It's probably after the hull, after the jet pump unit was fallen on when it came off the trailer.
that's when water started ingressing in these areas, and the leaks just got worse from there. And down here is the split. Some serious cleaning on the silicone to get in there and have a proper look at it there. That can be done. The other things that were clearly leaking were the these plates, the top side of the ride plate mounts. So I'm going to remove them. They'll be resiliconed, probably even replaced. Yamaha uses these glue-like globs at the factory, which they just place over that to hold them in place when then they're assembling. Once you broke that off, the whole thing pretty much just pops off because it's only silicone underneath. Okay, it's looking good. It's not looking great, but it's looking good.